in 2008. His undergraduate degree is in communications with a minor in English from Norwich University, where he graduated as valedictorian of the class of 2000. Mr. Howard teaches AP English 12 and regular English 12 at Hylton High School. This year he was nominated for both the Washington Post Agnes Meyer Outstanding Teacher Award and the Dale City Teacher of the Year Award for his commitment to making a positive difference in the lives of young people through his ability to inspire, motivate, and engage students. Mr. Howard currently resides in Remington, Virginia with his wife and young sons, Marshall and Alden. In his spare time, he enjoys reading, taking short hikes with his family and dogs in Shenandoah National Park, coaching his son's soccer team, and visiting Civil War battlegrounds and museums. Mr. Howard has countless academic interests that include Anglo-Saxon literature, Germanic literature, the epic tradition, and military history. Mr. Howard was chosen by you, the class of 2014, to be the guest speaker for today's commencement ceremony. He humbly accepted and is eager to share his bits of wisdom with you. Class of 2014, please join me in welcoming a phenomenal educator to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Scott Howard.
Thanks, guys. Congratulations to the class of 2014. I'm proud of you. Your teachers are proud of you. Your parents and families are proud of you. And I'm honored to have this chance to be your guest speaker today. There are a lot of people here. and I'm appropriately nervous. But you're also obviously very loved. Take pride in that. Anyway, when I first accepted this honor, I look back on the 5 graduations that I've attended as a high school teacher and as the 13 that I went to as a graduate or a family member or a friend. And I thought about all the commencement speeches that I've heard. While I was hoping to find inspiration, I instead discovered that of the 18 commencement speeches that I've listened to, I could only distinctly remember 2, which notably reduced my stress level and taught me a lesson on my own insignificance. Also, shortly after I was asked to give this speech, I was handed a list of commencement speech guidelines by a pair of my most sassy students. And these guidelines included such helpful tips as dress up like Beowulf, be yourself, and whatever you do, don't mention Justin Beiber.
Yes!
Oops. Well, as you can plainly see, in fact, I am not dressed as Beowulf. A pity, to be sure. However, as it turns out, I am and will always be a teacher. And so I hope that you forgive me if the speech itself turns out to be a lesson, the last that I teach you before you walk across this stage, over the threshold into the doorway to your futures. This morning, I'm going to share with you the single most important decision in making myself into the person who stands before you. The decision, note my choice of wording, decision, to become the man that I am. The man that I want to be. Admittedly, a self-satisfied, balding, diabetic high school English teacher. But one who is standing on a stage and wearing fancy new robes with Hogwarts-looking sleeves. Be jealous. Be jealous. Anyway, I discovered that when I was far older than you, I discovered this, that, how do I want to say this? I discovered when I was far older than you that I didn't have to wait to magically evolve or mature into the person that I wanted to be. I discovered that I could live a life governed by courage and choice rather than one tyrannized by fear and excuses. If you'll forgive me, I'm going to start with a couple of different ways of looking at life. As an English teacher, I'm particularly fond of metaphors and symbolism, and writers frequently use these to share their visions of existence. Many philosophers, for example, think of time as a river. It's an apt analogy to me because time does flow in one direction. And like a leaf on a current, each of us is dragged downhill by time toward the sea, metaphorically death or eternity. Yet, apt as this image may be, I don't agree with the idea because it removes power and responsibility from my shoulders. Life is not simply a current upon which we float helpless. You haven't floated to these chairs today any more than I floated to this podium. Life is much more a matter of choice. This can be seen in any number of works of literature. The Anglo-Saxon poet who wrote The Seafarer, Tennyson and Henley, for example, all cast life as an ocean. We are ships, and our wills or souls are the pilots. We can choose which destination to set sail for. Frost, too, in his famous poem, The Road Not Taken, characterizes life as a series of choices. In this case, paths, or roads that fork. These forks are decisions that we have to make. Finally, in his play Othello, Shakespeare has his character Iago explain that our lives are gardens, and our wills are gardeners. We can choose what to plant and what to grow, whether to water and weed or not, and ultimately we harvest what we've planted. I like these analogies. They're much more accurate to me. I like responsibility. If someone is to blame for my life, it seems to me that it should be me. So why did I share these analogies with you? Because they form the foundation of what I have to say today. Time may flow forward like a river, and your today may be influenced by your yesterdays, just as your today may influence your tomorrows. But today, now, in the present, you have agency. You have a power of choice. To which destination will you set sail? Which path shall you take? What will you plant in your gardens? These are all questions that you will be asked today, and questions that you will be asked to answer over the next few years. Now, to be clear, I'm not talking about occupation or career, I'm talking about character. These are questions of character. So, how do you choose your answers? Who should you be? If you'll take my advice, you should choose today and every day to be who you want to be. Many years ago, I discovered this empowering truth. I am the sum of my choices. When I realized that, I started taking my choices, all of them, even the simplest and most mundane, what to pack for lunch, whether to work out or hang out, to pay attention or not, how much effort to put into my work, more seriously. I realized that every decision impacts the way I see myself. I realized that ultimately, I need to make myself proud. You see, I've lived my life trying to make other people proud of me, family, friends, teachers. I wanted to be respected, and I found validation in what other people thought about me. It turns out that it was pretty easy to fool family, friends, and teachers into believing what I wanted them to believe, but it's not as easy to fool myself. I know who I am, and I have to live with myself and my choices forever. When I realized that, I changed. My change wasn't immediate or drastic, and there was, and still is, plenty of backsliding. In fact, it was a lot like climbing a mountain. Intentional, gradual, tiring, and difficult. I'm still climbing today. But the grade is leveled out and the going is easier. On this climb, though, I took 2 quotes with me, and they've helped a lot. Believe it or not, as an English teacher, I'm fond of quotes, and so I want to share those with you before I bring this to a close. First, I've got some words of wisdom tacked to the wall of my classroom. All of my students know this. Their author is Thucydides, an ancient Greek statesman, historian, and soldier. Pause. Yes, I'm well aware that I just pulled out an obscure philosopher of whom you've never heard on your graduation day and expect you to care. Blame yourselves for this. You voted for me, parents. Blame your children. As I was saying, Thucydides' words run like this. Self-control is the foundation of self-respect, and self-respect is the foundation of courage. Let me say that one more time, slowly. Self-control is the foundation of self-respect, and self-respect is the foundation of courage. I want to take a look at Thucydides' choice of diction. He selects the word foundation. A foundation, as you know, is a strong stone structure upon which buildings are constructed. Nowadays, we make ours out of concrete, but in the ancient world, they made theirs out of stone. In fact, growing up in Vermont, my parents had an old barn. It had a foundation made out of small and medium-sized slabs of slate, piled into a rectangular wall. The barn sat atop it. The slate, you see, it's heavy and stable. It doesn't rot or corrode. It protects the building from decay, fire, and flood. So, according to this dead Greek philosopher, the foundation of courage is self-respect. This means that those hard decisions to do the right thing in the face of opposition or fear are founded on the love and respect that I have for myself. To be brave, I must be proud. But how do I make myself proud? Well, the answer is self-control. That is the foundation required to build self-respect. Self-control, self-governance, self-discipline, choice. Thucydides helped me to realize that the little things, the seemingly insignificant choices in my life matter. Because the foundation of pride is a habit of making the right choice, the good choice, the choice that I can be proud of. We're all creatures of habits. You may have found, for example, that during high school, one good action leads to others. When you pay attention, practice hard, or exercise on Monday, it's easier to pay attention, practice hard, or exercise on Tuesday. Ask an athlete, an AP scholar, a choir or band member, or anyone who's on our soccer team that's going to states next week, and they'll tell you I'm right. Similarly, inactivity, mental or physical, leads to more inactivity. What Thucydides reminds me is that every good choice, every act of self-control and self-discipline is a stone piled on the foundation of my self-respect. The more stones, the stronger the foundation, the stronger the habit, and the harder it is to shake. Why do I share this with you now? Because tomorrow, the slate goes blank. Tomorrow is a new beginning. High school is over. College or a career looms ahead. Now's a good time to start building that foundation. Because tomorrow, you'll be in a world of self-control. You will be your own master, and every decision will be on your shoulders. To wake up for class or work or not. To party or study. To watch TV or work out. You have the choice. And doing the small things right will make it easier to do the big things right. Set another rock on the foundation of your self-respect. Choose, daily and repeatedly, to be the person you want to be. Make yourself proud. That second quote that I promised you comes from a song. I don't even know its name, that I heard once while visiting my brother in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. There was a local group there called Solid 8. They were terrible. But in one song, the rapper said, I was talking to myself in my head when I heard a whisper, and the little voice said, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. You can't do it unless you do it. Yes, I know. You're all thinking, come on, Mr. Howard, you preached the glory of British literature to us all year, and now, when you've got your chance, you're going to go with Solid 8? Really? I thought the same thing, and I still do. But we can't choose the things that affect us. So, back to Solid 8. I was talking to myself in my head when I heard a whisper, and the little voice said, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. You can't do it unless you do it. That struck me, and stuck with me. There isn't anything to it but to do it. The hardest part of anything is starting. Momentum is difficult to build, but easy to maintain. You can't do it unless you do it. Simple, right? Actually, that statement is very profound. The only thing holding me back is me. When I say I can't do it, that's usually followed by because of and an excuse. But what I'm really saying when I make an excuse is that I won't do it, or that I'm afraid that I might fail. It's a refusal. See, life is a matter of choice. So, ladies and gentlemen, to bring this lesson to its conclusion, you stand today and every day on the threshold between past and future, at a fork in the road, and you decide which path to take, which destination to sail towards, and what to plant in your garden. The past is the past, unalterable, but the present is a matter of choice. My hope for each of you is that in the present, now and always, you choose responsibility. Be who you long to be. Make the small choices right to build a foundation for the bigger choices, and live a life of self-control, self-respect, and courage. Make yourself proud.